Hello, fantasy managers, and welcome to another edition of the First Pitch Podcast. My name is Trevor Hooth, and I appreciate you joining me here on this one. And I'll tell you what, though, a fun day of baseball, but it was kind of a day of baseball of extremes. I mean, if you look through all the box scores, it was either dominant pitching or just an insane onpouring of offense. So let's jump in. Let's see what happened. First of all, of course, starting with our news. Unfortunately, just a nasty injury to Tristan Casas. Hope Tristan Casas is okay. He injured his knee during the second inning on a check swing dribbler. It's described as a significant knee injury, so he could be out for a while. But again, it didn't look very good. And good things, hopefully, a speedy recovery to Tristan Casas. Ryan Feltner with the Rockies also heading to the 15-day IL with back spasms. Bradley Blaylock is going to be up in his place. He'll be making a spot start today. Walker Buehler heading to the IL. We saw his start get pushed. Well, Brian Bello actually made the start yesterday in place of Walker Buehler. He's officially going on the IL with right shoulder bursitis. So we'll see how long that keeps him on the shelf. Shoulder stuff. Not always the best for Walker Buehler. Bello didn't do too bad moving up a day. Mike Trout, who's been having a powerful, if not lacking the ability to hit for average season, he heads to the 10-day IL, and Nico Cavadas is coming up for the Angels, first baseman for the Angels. Luke Maile selected by the Royals. They add another catcher to their roster as Alec Marsh gets transferred to the 60-day IL to make room for Maile on their 40-man roster. Jazz Chisholm has a fairly, at least from what I've seen, it's been described as a fairly significant right oblique strain, and that means Jorbit Vivas has been promoted, and he actually did get some playing time. He's been up a few times and really didn't get an opportunity. I like Vivas. I always have. I got to watch him as a prospect several times live back when he was with the Dodgers organization, and I've always thought that he could actually do something. So I'm going to frame him as an interesting candidate for, if you're hurting for some infield help, maybe you take a chance on him just to see what happens. I can't guarantee. I mean, you got to listen to the organizations and what they're telling you, and he just has struggled to find a chance. He finally has one. I think the talent is there. I don't think he's going to be an outstanding fantasy player necessarily, but I think he can hit. He may be able to get to just like a little bit of power, but overall, I think he has some skills that can be helpful. We'll see how they translate. I think he went 0 for he didn't get a hit, but he did walk a couple times in his game yesterday. So Vivas is a guy that I'm definitely interested in. Deeper leagues probably is where he's more relevant, but certainly a guy that I would be watching just to see how things go, because he is finally, hopefully, going to be getting an opportunity. The Reds have activated catcher Tyler Stevenson to make room. They sent Austin Hayes to the injured list. Stevenson came back pretty strong today, hit a pair of doubles in his first game back. Fernando Tatis Jr. exited the game for the Padres after getting hit by a pitch. He suffered a left forearm contusion. And so we'll see what happens with that. The left forearm contusion is, well, the x-rays came back negative. So that's just going to be something to watch. They're going to continue to evaluate him and see how things go. But again, Fernando Tatis Jr. exiting the game after getting hit by a pitch. Some prospect news. I always like to dig into that. I'm a prospect guy. I'm a dynasty guy. The Phillies are going to have Andrew Painter make his next start at AAA. They're starting to ramp him up. We're starting to get to the point where we might be seeing Andrew Painter. That's going to be a conversation that's starting to be had. It's still some time until that happens, but a good sign that the Phillies are allowing him to pitch against AAA competition now, as they're looking to ramp up and get him ready to go and ready to join Philadelphia. And yesterday on the podcast, I mentioned Jordan Lawler was scratched from the starting lineup in AAA, thinking, hey, maybe, well, turns out no, he was back in the AAA lineup again. So Jordan Lawler's still going to be in the minors. He's been tearing it up. I mean, at some point, something has to happen. All right, top of the show. I mentioned we have either a ton of hitting or dominant pitching in these games yesterday. So let's dive in. Let's see what happened there. Get some highlights, starting with the Tigers. They had 4 home runs in the 9th inning of their game, and 2 of them came from the same player, and that was Riley Green. So 2 home runs in 1 inning for Riley Green. Also, Colt Keith and Javier Baez hitting home runs. Baez hitting his 3rd home run. His resurgence, man, it seems like it's happening. It's good to see. Center fielder Javi Baez is putting some work in. But Riley Green, of course, his pair of home runs is the headliner there in that 9th inning. Also, earlier in the game, Trey Sweeney hit a home run. And even, I don't know, maybe more impressive, Zach McKinstry. A huge fantasy asset because he can play multiple positions, and he's been fantastic this year. He has a 12-game hitting streak now as he just isn't stopping. I mean, Zach McKinstry has been fantastic so far this year. Pete Alonso adds his 8th home run of the year. He's hitting .345 on the year, just having a fantastic year so far. Pete Crow Armstrong turns out still good. I've talked about him a lot on this podcast because he's hitting and he's hitting the ball really well. He's getting a lot of extra base hits. He hit a pair of home runs in the games yesterday. So Pete Crow Armstrong still doing Pete Crow Armstrong things. And it seems like a really, really good, he's setting the stage for a really good breakout year in 2025. And things are happening for Pete Crow Armstrong. Cal Riley for the Mariners also had 2 home runs in the game, but I kind of want to talk about Ben Williamson for a minute. He hit a double in the game, and he's hitting .273 now. Not a ton of counting stats in terms of what you might want for fantasy, but he was kind of what I believe to be an underrated promotion by the Mariners, and a guy who wasn't necessarily expected to be um, doing great things, but he has been playing very well. He plays really good defense, so he should get some runway, and he should be able to hold on to the position. Some injuries are how he got promoted, but he's hitting .273 with his chance right now. Moving on to the Rangers, the whole Jake Berger situation. They optioned him down to AAA, and they promoted Blaine Crim. And so Blaine Crim in his debut goes 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. We'll see how he evens out. Obviously, 1 game does not a career make, at least hopefully not. Hopefully he gets a longer runway. But the Rangers looking for their answer at first base, and Crim not starting off great. A pair of strikeouts in his debut. Speaking of slow starts, Yanier Diaz. He's been struggling at the plate early on this year. And obviously it's, May 3rd. So you're not absolutely terrified of it by any means. He had 3 hits in the game yesterday, including a home run and a double. And so hopefully that is a sign of he's coming out of this slump that he's been in to start the year. I just traded him away, which, I'm not going to say that's the whole reason why, but it tends to happen when I trade guys away. They go on a hot streak. So let's see what happens with Yanier Diaz. Home run and a double in the game. Good to see from him. You want to see good players playing well because that makes baseball fun. And he played well in yesterday's game. Alex Bregman has just been fantastic for the Red Sox. I mean, there's no way around it. He's hitting .331. He added his 8th home run and his 13th double in the game yesterday, and he just will not stop hitting. Just a great signing by them, and amazing that he lasted so long into free agency based on the way he's hitting right now. Ketel Marte comes back from the IL, goes 1 for 4 in his game, but he has returned to the Diamondbacks lineup, which is good for the Diamondbacks, something they've been waiting on for sure. Kyle Schwarber reaches 10 home runs on the year, adds a double in the game, so he had a nice day yesterday. Tyler Stevenson, as I mentioned, he came back off the IL with a couple of doubles, going 2 for 3 with a walk. And finally, for our hitters, we got to start looking out for this Aaron Judge guy. He was supposed to be this huge power guy. And you know what? He has the power, of course, but he's also hitting .430. He had another couple of hits in the game yesterday, including his 2nd triple of the year. Obviously, look out for this Aaron Judge guy. Hopefully that came off as the joke it was, because we know Aaron Judge is good, but did we know Aaron Judge was this? Do we know Aaron Judge was going to be not flirting with, he's well over 400 at the beginning of May. This is insane. Aaron Judge confirmed super good at baseball. Again, adding his 2nd triple too. My goodness. Let's dive into some of the dominant pitching that happened. Oh my gosh, there was so much. Robbie Ray keeps things rolling. I had mentioned he's in the zone, and that's been the difference in his most recent starts. He kept that going today. 7 shutout innings, did give up a pair of walks, but struck out 8. So if he can keep firing in the zone, Robbie Ray looks like he could be a nice bounce back this year. Tarek Skubal bump day, always a good one. Uh, Skubal, 8 strikeouts, 6 innings. I mean, it's what you expect. Jose Soriano on the other side of that matchup also threw 6 innings. He had 6 shutout innings, walked 1, struck out 5. Ben Brown for the Cubs, 6 innings pitched. He struck out 4, but the big number, 0 walks. No walks. Ben Brown has been putting up decent numbers in terms of like strikeouts, and his ERA has been inflated, but his walks have been so high. I've kind of been watching that walk number, waiting for a day like this, and without the walks, things have been going pretty well. So Ben Brown, a good start from him. You love to see it. Good to see he didn't have any walks. That's the number I've been watching for him. Brian Wu doing Brian Wu things in his most recent start. 6.1 shutout innings, 8 strikeouts, only gave up a hit. I mean, this is Brian Wu. Dude's good at pitching. Dude does good at pitching things like throw 6.1 shutout innings. Speaking of good pitchers, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 6 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts. And on the other side for Atlanta, Grant Holmes struck out 9 over 6 innings. So that was a pretty fun matchup. Hitters definitely frustrated in that one. Gunnar Hoglund for the Athletics made his MLB debut, and it went really well. 6 innings, gave up 1 earned run, struck out 7. I mentioned his increase in velocity. He was sitting right around 91 miles an hour was his average last year. He's up to 93, and things going well for him as shown in his MLB debut. Joe Ryan, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. Again, that's what Joe Ryan does when Joe Ryan is on. Max Fried with 7 shutout innings and 6 strikeouts. And of course, rounding it out with, just the most impressive pitching performance of the day, you have to say, at least in terms of strikeouts. Hunter Green, he threw 6 innings and he struck out 12, averaging 2 strikeouts an inning. That man is just nasty. I mean, it's just so hard to hit him. A couple of relievers to mention. Devin Williams has been removed from closing situations for New York. He did pitch in a lower leverage spot, not a save opportunity. The save opportunities now are going to Luke Weaver, but Devin Williams in lower leverage, hey, didn't give up any runs, didn't walk anybody, struck out 1 over 1 inning, setting things up for Luke Weaver, who converted the save with a couple of strikeouts in 1 inning. And the other reliever, Jeremiah Estrada with the Padres, I mean, he's just so good. He struck out the side, and this one's going to haunt me. My 30-team keeper league, I decided to keep a first base prospect over him for some reason. I don't know what was going through my mind, but I'm gonna worry about that one for a while because Jeremiah Estrada is just so good. Yeah, I don't know. It's on my mind, so I guess I lost my train of thought there. But those are our highlights from the games yesterday. We're going to take a look at the games upcoming today, talk about some pitching matchups, and maybe even a place where you might want to stream some hitters. We'll see what happens. But for right now, we're going to take a quick time out. I appreciate you joining me. This is the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. And welcome back to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth, and we went over what was a fun day of baseball yesterday. It was a day of extremes, either lots of hitting and just an onslaught of hitting or some dominant pitching. Well, let's take a look at some of the matchups that we got coming up here today. Some of the pitchers coming up. Hunter Brown for the Astros. I know we know he's good. I just haven't talked about him on the First Pitch Podcast, and I would like to. Dude is just killing it this year. He enters the game with 40 strikeouts, an insanely low ERA, and just good to see Hunter Brown having the kind of season so far, at least, that we all knew he could have. One matchup that I'm super interested in, even in terms of streaming, Osvaldo Bido for the Athletics. He's going to be taking on the Marlins lineup. I like that matchup a lot. On the other side, that's Max Meyer. So that could be a pretty fun matchup if Bido shows up and he's pitching what he's capable of against that lineup. And of course, Max Meyer pitching against any lineup if he's pitching how he's capable of. That could be a pretty fun one. That could turn out to be good for fantasy owners or fantasy managers on both sides. Jack Flaherty versus the Angels. That's looking like that's going to be a pretty good one if you are on the Jack Flaherty side of things, especially Jack Flaherty in a Tigers uniform. We know that turns out well. I mean, that's been super fun. Now, if you're looking for some hitters to stream, there is a matchup. It's the Rockies versus San Francisco and San Francisco. Bradley Blaylock, who just got promoted to take the place of Ryan Feltner, and Jordan Hicks. That's who's facing off. And Hicks has been not that great lately. Blaylock, you will see. But I think that if you're looking for hitting streaming, if you just need another guy, I think that's probably the matchup in terms of what the pitching looks like heading in. That's probably the matchup that I am looking at most if I need a hitter to fill in for a day. And of course, my matchup of the day could be fun, could be not fun. I don't know. Roki Sasaki versus Spencer Schwellenbach. I chose this mostly because of Spencer Schwellenbach. That dude is awesome. That dude is, as I've said, ascending into fantasy acehood because he is just so good. And so you got to love it when he's on the mound. And Roki Sasaki, he's been inconsistent, but he's shown really good flashes. So if he has his command, especially the command of his fastball, that could be a really fun outing if you're a fan of pitching. And if you're a hitter, that could be a really unfun outing. But Roki Sasaki versus Spencer Schwellenbach, I think that's going to be a fun one. That is my matchup of the day. Make sure to check out all of the great stuff we got going on at Pitcher List. Of course, Nick puts out the list. Scott Chu with the hitter list. Rick Graham with the reliever lists. Lots of good content, just even beyond those lists. The written content is fantastic too. So make sure to check out pitcherlist.com for all of that great stuff. And of course, if you are not a member of PL Pro, sign up for PL Pro. The Discord is a great place to be. You can talk to the writers. I usually hanging out in the Prospects and Dynasty channel. I love talking baseball. If you want to talk to me, or of course any of the people who are much smarter than me that write for Pitcher List, they're all there as well. So sign up for PL Pro if you have not. It's a great thing to do. With that, I appreciate you joining me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. This has been another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List.